All right, I am going to go ahead and kick us off now. Since we're all doing video chat, I want to start off with a little bit of trivia. Did you guys know that you can't breathe through your nose when you're smiling?
No, didn't know that.
Yeah, well, of course you can. I just want to make everybody smile. So now that I got everyone smiling, let's go ahead and kick us off. So we are the Dallas regional team, myself, Matt Jones, Marco Harrington. We are just the two of us. We started out as a group of four, but since the first meeting, it was the two of us. So quite a bit of tasks to do with limited resources. So, but we got through it. We definitely pushed through. And would like to share some of our experiences that we went through with our program. So I will go ahead and move us on. So our project partner was Crossroads Community Services. They are a food pantry in North Texas. You guys are probably familiar with it. They were our first, during our first meeting, it was our service project that we did. We went through there and various projects and whatnot that the cohort was all there. Excuse me. Our contact was Leanne Proctor. She had actually just started with Crossroads in September. So it was a new role for her and definitely a new experience. She moved down here from, I believe it was Indiana. So new to the area, new to the program. So definitely, I kind of say a learning experience for all of us. So it was kind of good. We all started pretty much on the same foot there. And then also just a little housekeeping. Feel free to stop us at any time with questions as they come up. So there you go. This is us. That's the cohort. That's all of our beautiful faces out there. Get ready to do a Charlie Mike there. So as you can see, we are definitely involved with Crossroads. And excuse me one second while I pull up my notes here. Thanks. All right. But again, just a little bit more. It's a food bank here in North Texas area. They had moved into the old North Texas Food Bank building. They started off as First Presbyterian, First United Church in 7,000 square foot building. But recently expanded into a 80,000 square foot facility that we attended during that first cohort meeting in Dallas. As you guys that were there were aware, they were definitely working on scaling up both physically and strategically. So that's really where we came into play. We were going to come in as the Dallas cohort, the Dallas region cohort project to help them expand their volunteer program. And really, it's almost as high level as that when we got started. Our initial briefing was just that they were trying to scale up and really work with planning out their volunteers. Just our one pager, it was pretty general. We were to explore the South Dallas volunteer services and help them speak to other large groups such as veterans organizations and other member organizations. So kicking off initially, it was a bit difficult getting communication set up. We had our one pager, getting in contact, through email, voice messages back and forth. Was a bit difficult, but we did get a hold of Leanne and got in touch with her face-to-face meeting, and really just kind of got things going from there and tried to understand what their needs were. So that said, I'm going to turn it over to Marco, and he's going to kind of go over, kind of that growing process that we had, the relationship building, and then the recommendations and results that came from that.
All right, everybody. So at our first meeting, we got down and we we took notes about what was their expectation from us and what they needed us to do. Off that first meeting with Leanne, me and Matt came up with a strategy to help them with the logic model. So we sat down and helped out states and helped them with, the ABCs and the Ds and stuff like that for them to expand their view and their scope of what's around them. We showed them high schools, churches, and such things like that, even like small corner stores, anything that could help them get started with volunteers or even just bringing in more food for the pantry, for them to network, because a lot of those other churches around that area were also doing the same thing they were doing on a smaller scale. So that was the first meeting. So we went back and forth with emails and stuff like that. Of course, we missed a couple of meetings because we were with the cohorts and we were out of town on some of those. I got back with her a couple of times. We linked up with our platoon down here in Dallas, the Dallas platoon, Wounded Warrior Project, also Salesforce, and we all got together and had some meetings and came out with some things. We threw out the GROW model. We talked about that and helped them plan that out because they had a lot of overlapping and decision and people volunteering or not volunteering, even lack thereof. So we helped them with the GROW model. They seem to, love the concept of, even if they fall short of some of the things that they were trying to accomplish, that they could always come back to it. So that was one of the good things they liked about that, because the big goal was to get a whole volunteer program together and to get more volunteers. But if they did smaller steps and made smaller footprints to lead to that ultimate goal, I believe that they would make it. We also recommended a veggie run. So their problem was that they couldn't get a lot of volunteers that were sustained during the week. But if you do a veggie run during the weekend, like a Saturday once a month, you can get in, bring in a lot more volunteers. You can bring in a lot more people to even to feed those ones who were left behind during the week, so that you can actually catch up and make more people. Jody, is Jody, right, Matt? I think it's Jody, was one of the main people who had this and led this, and she believed that was a really good idea and nobody had ever brought it up. So that was one of the other things that we, explained to them that they could do. Also, they were trying to have people sell contracts, have contracts of volunteers, which wasn't a good idea because most volunteers just want to volunteer when they have spare time, not in a sense of like, I want to do this three-month contract. So we tell them they need to, not need to, but look more into that, because I don't think volunteers are happy about signing a contract to volunteers like a job. So that was one of the other things. But we did establish small goals to step students toward their larger outcome. Like I said, the models of the Kellogg logic model, the GROW model, ABCs, I think they were doing really good with those type of things. We also got in contact with Salesforce, who actually helped them spearhead a lot of their volunteer programs and put in a lot of their data so they know exactly how many volunteers are showing up, when they're showing up, how many family members are actually being left out and coming in on certain days and, certain seasons. So Salesforce is actually helping with them and continuing to help with them along with us here in the Dallas platoon. So I think that's great. The expectations and the outcome is, I do believe that they will get there with the small steps that we help them out with. In the long run, they will succeed if they continue to use the models that me and Matt set out for them and the programs that help out. And since we're involved at the Dallas Platoon and Wounded Warrior Project and a lot of the other nonprofits too, even my wife's nonprofit has started getting involved with them too, which is Empower. So me and my wife connected, which is, pretty good on other levels. So I do believe that they're gonna succeed in the long run. I'm gonna take over still, Matt, and then I'll give you the rest. Team involvement. So basically, my involvement in it, I was, I guess, the foot soldier, I would call. I was the look, the head. I got out and helped out with a lot of the nonprofits because that's mostly what I did during my time in school and just now anyways, because I have more free time than Matt does. So I went to a lot of the meetings and met with, like I said, Salesforce, Wounded Warrior Project, Empire, the North Texas Food Bank, a lot of other places around the area to just get our foot in the door and help Leanne and those guys out. Um, Matt is our project leader. He was the meetings guy. He was the guy who set up all the meetings with us, helped me out, and keeping my schedule going as much as possible because we're not too easy guys to just get a hold to. He set up with the meetings with Kathy. Always sent me emails and messages and stuff like that. Whenever I needed help, if I couldn't meet a meeting, he would go to the meetings, or if we need to video call or chat because I was in another meeting. Matt did a lot of that. He did the, I'm not gonna say he did the videos. He did the slides and stuff like that. He's really good at that. So he did all out there. I'm not gonna pat Matt on his back a little bit more, but I'm gonna let him pat his own self on the back and give his 2 cents.
Thank you, sir. No, I appreciate it. And then, yeah, I'll take that to close it out. I love how you said you're the face of the our team here, because I'll go right into this one. There's the face right there. This is from our first cohort meeting there. But no, I really think we work well together. Going off the bat, based on our disc assessments, we were exact opposite. So for a 2-man team, it was about perfect. I'm pretty analytical, and Marco's really great with people and focused on the people side of it. So we really, really worked well together at going at this task. And I feel like we helped Crossroads kind of, take this big, huge concept. They really needed to scale up 10 times is literally what they were trying to do. But just a big apple and didn't really know where to start taking a bite out of it. So I think we helped them kind of dissect the issue, find some root cause, like Marco said, did the grow analysis and really helped them kind of look at a different perspective. So all in all, I think what we did was beneficial to both Crossroads and Marco and myself as a Dallas team, and I think we learned from it. So that said, I'll wrap it up and turn it over to questions.
I have a really simple, basic question. You talked about the work with Salesforce and Wounded Warrior Project and things. Did you make those connections for them, or did they already have those connections and you like you were kind of out working to just strengthen them, or are you the one that actually made those connections for them?
So with the Wounded Warrior Project, I actually made that connection because here in Dallas, I'm actually like one of the advocates for Wounded Warrior Project. So I go to all the events when people are having problems with their VA benefits and stuff like that. They call me and my wife to help out and see where they can do. And a lot of people have the questions. So I started with Wounded Warrior Project. Salesforce, I think, had already had a hand before Crossroads became Crossroads, with like the North Texas Food Bank, with Empire, which is one of the places that my wife works with. And so we just all got together, and it was just kind of like one of those, oh, hey, I know you, you know me, let's all get together and, help this team out to build out where they're going. So it was kind of like a mutual thing. I guess we all just had like one concept and we all just kind of got together almost at the same exact time. So I just think it kind of just fell suit with each other.
That's great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Next question.
Hey, Marco and Matt, it's Heather. Thanks for sharing this and walking us through very clearly the approach that you took. And you talked a little bit about, at the start, just the challenge of trying to figure out what exactly they were trying to do. And then you shared with us a couple of ways that you really implemented content that you learned through the program. in order to move forward and get to this place. When you look back now, are there things that you think about you wish had been a part of the curriculum that would have helped you move along faster or get to a different place?
To me, honestly, no. I'm honestly gonna say no, because of the fact that I believe that not throwing any shade on Leanne or Crossroads, but I believe that they rushed into it, and I believe that which a lot of people do, which we all do. We all have the tendency to rush into big pictures and not take small steps and accomplishment. And I think that they were feeding a lot of people before, and they felt like they could continue to do that, but not looking at, oh, if we move buildings, we lose volunteers and we lose, other people who help us out, and didn't look at the bigger picture before they moved and didn't have anything to fall. They didn't have a plan B to fall back on. So I think just from the stuff that we learned here at Mission Continues and the stuff that I even learned in school, I believe I already had a plan, but had some of the tools needed to push forward. But yes, I do believe, because the GROW model was the first. I've never heard of the GROW model, and I do believe that the GROW model, when me and Matt heard it, was like, oh, this is a good concept to bring to them, because they can take smaller steps into achieving a bigger goal, and they can see like, oh, what problems could we run into and how could we fix them. So I think it helped us a lot, seeing it even in my lifestyle, it helped. So I think it was great. Matt, what you think?
To go back to, I guess, the training question is, my opinion is totally biased because I have a project management background, but maybe a little bit more early on project management, like a quick hour of just really high level overview of how to tackle the situation. Initialization, stakeholder engagement, communication, just some high level, here's a concept of how to get in touch with folks, because it seemed like some of the other regions also had the issue with communication and getting in touch with some of the folks, and really what to do, how to organize, how to prepare, what the definition of done was. So just my 2 cents. And again, project management, so of course I want more project management in it.
I appreciate that from both of you.
Thanks, Heather.
So did you have a chance to actually see your recommendations come to fruition? Did you guys get that far along? Do you really feel like you can say like, oh, you'll be able to see impact and say we did that, where that was definitely a result of the work and the engagement that we had with them?
For sure. Yeah, I think some of the, the GROW model, some of the recommendations, just from sitting down the first time with Leanne, I mean, it was a huge open book. It was a huge gray area. They had, you could summarize it in one level. They wanted more volunteers, and that was the extent of the strategy. So I think we helped them kind of expand on the tactical side of it, looking at some KPIs, how to measure those trends and how to measure growth and what you should be really looking at, dissecting what they were trying to do into smaller portions that could be a bit more tasked out amongst their team.
KPI? He wants to know what KPI is.
Oh, key performance indicators. Just statistics. How many people do you get day over day, week over week? Is there any kind of trend? Just a way to follow trends.
And Matt, did you feel like that was something, were they surprised by it, or was it kind of like, yes, we know, thank you so much for kind of pushing us in this direction and getting us there? Or were they like, oh my God, we had no idea, this is super helpful?
A little bit of both.
Yeah.
They knew that there was a problem, but didn't know of the solution, or maybe they didn't communicate what their personal expectations were. So I think we kind of helped them open up some dialogue.
Yeah, most definitely, because we, like I said, Salesforce came in with the data, and it was one of the places they need to know. of exactly how many volunteers they needed, to meet the goal of however many families they wanted to feed throughout that time. And it was one of the things that I don't think Leanne had actually like sat down to herself and said, hey, this is really what the plan is and what we need to do. So I do believe that share screen off. Okay. Yeah, so I do believe that it helped out a lot. And I do believe they had a goal, just didn't know exactly how to manage it and get to it. So I think a lot of the models that we showed them, and they were enthused about the grow model. They really, really loved it. And even the way we explained it and stuff like that, they liked it. And, I printed out some more papers when I went to the next meeting, and they took it and ran with it. So I believe that it's going to help them out a lot.
That's great. It sounds like you guys really were able to kind of move them along in some place where they really, really needed it too. And it really helped them increase their capacity in a variety of ways too, not just get more volunteers, but in a really meaningful way. So it sounds like you guys did some really great work.
I don't have a question, but I would like to say to Matt and Marco, it was a pleasure working with you all and texting and talking with you all. You always came into the meetings very enthusiastic and ready to go to work. So thank you for that. Thank you for that experience.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you for experiencing the talks and stuff like that. We enjoyed it also.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, thank you, Kathy. Really appreciate you helping us navigate through this. Thank you.
Matt, I'm ready for your question. Landis, I see you shaking your head. I know you got something.
I'm just trying to figure out exactly how I was going to ask you about Brittany. I haven't been a better participant, man, but I didn't know yet. No, man, I'm glad to see you guys. That's all I have for you. It's just I'm happy to see both of you. And I miss you.
Yeah, well, I mean, Brittany, she pushed me through it, man. She really did, because I know, like, with my psychology background, and I'm like a jack of all, trades and stuff. And she was just like, just be into it. I know you're gonna like it. I know you're gonna enjoy it. And like when I sat down, and even with my frustration about the emails and stuff like that, I just felt like she helped me out a lot and gave me a lot of structure that I needed, to deal with the struggle of like the communication part with Leanne and missing the meetings and stuff like that, and keep me focused. So not even that, but even like Kathy and, the times I talked to you and Jimmy and stuff like that, it was times where I was like, I'm getting out. I was like, I'm not going to finish, because it's not for me. It's not my psychology background, but I knew if I gave up, I would give up on Matt and give up on myself. And I hate failure. So, I do appreciate all y'all pushing me through, especially Matt for always messaging me and say, hey, what are you doing? Even when I was busy, I was like, Matt, leave me alone. Like I'm in another meeting, but it was good. And, I loved it. Even Leanne and Jody, when they would like email me back and stuff like that and say, hey, what do you got going on? You going into the meeting? I appreciate everybody like just putting in, work to help me grow. And I believe I grew.
All right. Any other questions or comments? Cool. Well, thank you both very much for putting in such hard work. It was also kind of nice to have the cohort kick off at your project site, right? Like it was a good shot in the arm to get things moving. So are you guys do you think you'll volunteer with them more or continue supporting them in some way?
I don't know. So I got an email back because I wanted them to see how First Platoon ran a veggie run, which we were supposed to have last Saturday, but with the coronavirus and all that type of stuff, oh, my bad, I can't say coronavirus, COVID-19 spreading and stuff like that, everything got canceled. So, we canceled meetings with her. Also, and she emailed me back and said she wanted us to continue, to work with them and stuff like that, which I told her I had worked with them before I haven't even, did the mission continue. So I'm sure I will. So I'm sure I still will work with them, because it's something that I do anyway. So.
Yeah, and for me, it'll same thing. It'll most likely be through the Dallas platoon. Definitely will stay in touch with them, but it's an hour drive for me each way, so it's a bit of a haul. But definitely as a Dallas platoon helps out, I know Marco will be dragging me along, and especially when the Frisco platoon starts up, and Marco's going to be the platoon commander, platoon leader there.
Oh yeah, so I'm not gonna say I got confirmation, but I got confirmation that I will be the new. It's called Dallas Platoon, Dallas Second Platoon, but it's still Frisco's first platoon. So yeah, you're right. Yeah, you'll be with me. I'll call you.
Yeah. So I mean, that's just to kind of summarize. Like, I really appreciate this program. I think it helped me personally, and my relationship with Marco and moving forward with the Dallas platoon and Frisco platoon, whatever platoon it is, I think this really helped us grow together with our leadership and our personal relationships. It's two of us, so it's kind of a unique situation than some of the other regions. But just want to say thank you for everyone on the Mission Continue side. Really appreciate the time, effort that went into this. I know it's a lot, but from a member of the cohort, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for putting the effort and sticking with us. And that's awesome news that you're gonna go on to be the PL for Frisco. Why is it called Frisco? Because I mean, I'm a little bit biased. I live in San Francisco Bay, so somebody's already got the Frisco. But go ahead.
So I guess it's only 3 platoons in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, which you have Fort Worth, Dallas, and Arlington. So the problem is like my school, Texas Women's University, is in Denton. So Fort Worth had to come all the way to Denton to cover that area. And sometimes Arlington will overlap, and they were like, well, why are we covering that area? And so me and my wife got with VFW and I think the other one is DAV and stuff like that, and asked them, like, what do they need from other nonprofits around this? And they were like, we just need help with people who can volunteer around this area and not come from so far away. And I was like, well, hey, I'm with the Mission Continues, I'm with one of the Dallas platoons. And they were like, well, why don't we have one in Frisco? And I was like, let me run that up the chain and see why won't we have one in Frisco. And so it pretty much came down to, them and them saying, hey, that Fort Worth and Arlington didn't want to come all the way to Denton. But since Frisco is basically Denton, we would start up a platoon that reaches that far out. That hasn't had to go that far. So it was me, I guess, because we suggested it.
Awesome. It's great to see that you're going to continue with us. Very cool. All right. Well, that's 30 minutes. Is that what you wanted? You didn't want to take the whole hour?
I mean, unless y'all got other questions, I think that's it. I mean, if y'all have any other questions about the project or Matt and what he's doing in his life right now,
I can sing. I can play guitar a little bit.
Cool. All right, folks. Well, thanks very much. It's been a pleasure having you in our cohort, and we'll be in touch shortly with what our definition of done is. So I appreciate that.
Okay.
Thank you both.
See ya.
Thanks. Have a good one.
Bye.
Thank you.